There we are again. I think in the first video I mentioned how important belief was. Let me give you an example why. I had a friend who was a dentist and stopped using Novocaine to stop any pain that the person may have. He started using hypnosis and came to the point where that's all he used. Well, I went to him, and it was kind of interesting the way he induced the hypnosis, because he laid me down in the chair and he started talking, and what he said was this: I don't care if you listen to the cars out in the street, I don't care if you listen to the noise upstairs, because I'm not talking to the conscious mind, I'm talking to the subconscious mind. And folks, once the subconscious mind starts to listen, it's over with. The hypnosis worked. I had my work done without any pain whatsoever. So, this is the way belief works. There's a part of your consciousness that's very similar to that. If you don't believe, it's not going to do anything for you. But if you do believe, it's going to show you some amazing things, because you're going to be able to start to do things that you never thought of. Now, as I said in the beginning also, I'm skeptical when I do things. I just don't accept things easily and readily. So here's what I kind of went through. In my growing up, I had a lot of religious education, and they always, when they're talking about God, of course, and you had the same experience, I'm sure, talked about God being infinite, being omnipresent, being all those things that we've heard over and over again. And, you know, I accepted that. But I never thought about it. I never thought about what the implications of those two words, infinite and omnipresent, were. All right? Now, here, I'm waltzing along. I'm skeptical about anything psychic or medium or something like that. And all of a sudden, a book that I got made me start thinking about it because of the terms it used. And I thought about it, and I realized if there is an infinite being, which I believe wholeheartedly that there is, and that being truly is infinite and omnipresent, and this was tough to get your head around, or at least a little bit, we are part, in some way we are part of that being, because there is no place that is outside of that being. Because as soon as there would be, when you say, here I am and here is that being, and they don't occupy the same space, then that being is no longer infinite. And all of a sudden, the connection was made. If we are all part of one thing, everything is connected, one with the other. You are connected with other people at a level that you've never realized, and you're connected with the rest of reality. Now, what does that mean? It means it gives you a reason, it gives you a frame of reference as to why this is the truth and why it should work. As a matter of fact, it couldn't be any other way. So, with that in hand, I started reading more and more, and I had an experience which I want to relate to you, because it's kind of funny, because I have a friend of mine who was skeptical, but he knew me. So he knew that I was not strange or really out in left field. And we were together one night. We were talking, we were casual, have a few drinks, relaxed. Another couple came in, and the other couple started saying things, and it was making me and my friend Bill laugh. But all of a sudden I realized that we were not laughing about what they were saying. We were laughing about a tangent to what they were saying. It was making us think of something else, and that's what we were laughing at. And that happened 4 or 5 times in a row. Now, I kind of realized that and said to myself, well, for some reason, and I don't know the reason, he and I are on the same wavelength. So let me run a little experiment and see if this is, you know, got some teeth to it, this thing that I've been studying. So what I did is, without opening my mouth and saying a word, in my mind, said to Bill, Bill, you can hear me. There was no response. And then I went, Bill, you can hear me. And Bill looked at me, and he kind of turned white a little bit, and looked at me and said, "Don't get heavy with me." He heard me. Now, the reason it worked, the reason he heard me, was because there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that he was going to. That's why it worked. So with that in hand, I decided to get into a psychic development class, and had a whole series of other experiments and little tests that I ran. Another one was, I live outside of Albany, New York, and I've been in sales for a very long time. And I traveled over to western Massachusetts to a little town called North Adams. I had never been there before. And on the way, as I started to go into the town, and I was just starting to take classes, I said to myself, you know, if this really works, I'm going to put it to a test. Let's see it work. So I had a name of a company and an address, but to me, that was going to do me no good whatsoever. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to follow my instincts, all right, and I'm going to just take, when I feel like I should take a right or a left or do this. And I did that. And maybe I made like 3, 4, 5 turns. I don't know exactly how many there were. And I was coming down this road, and the road forked. And right in the middle of the fork was a gas station. And I noticed that I was starting to go out of town. And I said, well, I guess I fouled this up. I better stop in the gas station and ask if they know the company and how do I get there. And I said to the guy in the gas station, well, here's the name of the company. Do you know where it is? And he looked at me and he pointed and he says, that's it across the street. And I went, okay, yep. That seemed to work pretty well. And I've gone through a whole series of incidences like that, where I tested it, and it just worked. And the more you work it, the more confidence you have, all right? And you become better and better at it. Now, this is something that has to be worked at. And I'm making it sound very simple, but you know something? It's got to be worked at. I'm not telling you that I've been meditating every day for years upon years, which raises your level of sensitivity, and that helps you to do that. There's a whole bunch of other things that went on that are much more poignant than those two little experiences. But that was the beginning for me. That changed my mind and opened up a whole new world for me. I'm going to talk about it, or talk about some great deal more important instances that happened that were absolutely conclusive for me. And we're going to do that in the next video. So again, we're going to talk about beliefs and the key roles that they play. And to help, it helps you understand, again, who you are and what a remarkable being you are, and that we all are. Thanks again, and again, you'll be hearing from me.